The Accelerated Climate Model for Energy, or ACME, is a new initiative by the Department of Energy to develop the most complete, leading-edge climate model that efficiently runs on the world's fastest supercomputers. ACME will provide a deeper, more accurate understanding of climate change science in order to better assess risks to human society. Ocean models are an important tool in climate change research. They are one component of coupled climate models, which include atmosphere, ocean, sea ice, land vegetation, and land ice. All of these components and their interactions are needed to understand the risks of climate change in the coming century. The ocean component of ACME is the Model for Prediction Across Scales, or MPAS-Ocean, which is a new variable resolution mesh model developed at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Variable resolution means we can place high-resolution grid cells where they are most needed in order to study particular regions of the Earth or to better resolve important physical processes. How does the ocean affect climate change? First, the ocean absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, changing the rate of warming. In fact, almost all of the carbon dioxide emitted by humans will eventually end up in the ocean. The amount removed in the coming decades depends on ocean dynamics, chemistry, and biology, such as phytoplankton productivity. Second, ocean currents may change in a warming climate, affecting weather patterns. For example, northern Europe is warmer than Canada due to the heat flux of the Gulf Stream. In a changing climate, the Arctic is predicted to experience a large warming and more precipitation. This makes the waters of the North Atlantic warmer and less salty, which will likely weaken the Gulf Stream and impact global weather patterns. The Gulf Stream is part of a larger circulation pattern called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, where warm waters move northward at the surface, sink near the Arctic, and return as cold water in the deep Atlantic. Based on models and observations, it is very likely that this circulation will weaken over the 21st century. Why do we need supercomputers for climate simulations? Ocean dynamics are composed of the mean component and the eddy component. The mean component is the average flow, typically illustrated as ocean currents on diagrams. The eddy component includes turbulent structures that vary in space and time, such as the eddies and meandering currents shown here. Heat, salt, and nutrients are transported by both the mean and eddy components. In many places, the eddy component is as large as the mean and may be in the opposite direction. High-resolution simulations are required for the eddy component and enable us to understand the spectrum of turbulence and the impact of mesoscale variability. For a new ocean model to be trusted by the scientific community, it must be thoroughly validated. MPAS-Ocean was run through an exhaustive suite of tests, from very simple idealized domains that isolate a subset of the model physics to full global simulations driven by historical atmospheric forcing. These are compared to exact solutions, other ocean models, and historical observation. Real-world validation includes comparisons of the mean currents against observations from satellites and ships. We also compare eddy characteristics in the model against satellite observations of ocean eddies. There are several variables that we typically visualize from ocean simulations. Temperature differences from the equator to the poles are a major driver of ocean currents. These currents move warm waters towards the poles. This can be clearly seen by the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic Ocean and the Kuroshio Current beside Japan in the Pacific Ocean. Kinetic energy shows the speed of the ocean. Currents like the Gulf Stream and the Kuroshio appear as meandering flows, spawning eddies on either side. The Agulhas Current runs southward from Madagascar. At the southern tip of Africa, it turns back on itself, a feature known as the Agulhas retroflexion. This current regularly extends westward and pinches off eddies. These Agulhas rings are the largest eddies in the ocean, spanning 200 to 300 kilometers in diameter. They move as coherent structures all the way across the Atlantic, from Africa to South America. Ocean models are needed to understand and respond to climate change over the coming decades. High resolution is required for an accurate representation of the ocean, and this relies on high-performance computing. High-quality visualization is critical to provide scientists, policymakers, and the public with insight from the huge amount of data produced by these simulations.